might be dependent on the company, that what is the CGPA criteria for that company to select your CV. Second is the projects you did, you wrote in the CV, and how you explained your project. And third is the internships that you have did, if you have any internship. Okay, so these are the three major components basically that any SD company are going to look upon while selecting your CV. Okay, the CGPA criteria, I would say, is entirely dependent on the company to company, that what is the CGPA criteria, what they stated on the OCS platform. And also, so okay, so now we are going to focus more on that two components that we can manage, like the project and the internship. So basically what happens now, sometimes the major problem lies is people did the internships, people did the projects, but they don't know how to structure their project and how to structure their CV, the internships, so that your CV and CV looks better. Okay, so your projects and internships should look catchy. So there should be a proper structure upon how to write the projects and how to write the internships. Okay, so there are again two major disclaimers. So don't worry if you don't have any internships, just try to focus more on the projects that you have. Okay, try to emphasize more on the projects that you did if you don't have an internship. And if you have an internship, then try to keep a balance. Now, there are many doubts majorly regarding the project itself. I'm just considering some doubts along with my presentation. Okay, so another doubt that people faces is that what should be the balance between the projects, that is the balance between the machine learning projects and the core data structure based projects. So we'll just discuss that problem also, that what should be the proper balance. Another point is that how to structure your projects how to structure a project in a better manner. And so yeah, these are 2-3 general problems that students faces. Like I also face these problems when we make the CVs. Okay, so let's just I will just share my screen and let you know the sample CV itself. Just a second, I'll just give the share. I'll just quit once and join again, because there's some privacy settings, so I can't share my screen without quitting the session. Okay, I'll just join in a second.
Please wait, guys. Pranav sir will just be joining.
So I was just in this meeting only, right? Like I explained some basic terminologies about the CV here. So
Yes, sir.
I guess, yeah, okay, cool. So I'll just share my screen again, and I'll just let you know that how does a sample CV look like, and what errors that you need to that you don't have to do in a sample CV. Okay, so I'll just share my screen. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So this is basically the sample CV. Now here, just let me be clear. The green represents that what you have to do, and red represents what you don't have to do. Okay, these are the blunders. The red ones are the blunder that you don't have to perform. Okay. So we'll be majorly focused on the two things, the internship and projects, which is the most important thing for a SD or technical CV point of view. And we'll also talk about the scholastic achievements and the other things also. Okay. So let me just straight move on to the internship, that what thing you need to do and what things you need to avoid while writing the internships in your CV. Okay. So here you can just see that we have presented 3 internship, 2 with the green and 1 with the red, right? So in the red one, you can easily identify that whenever any recruiter just screen your CV, so they will just reject your CV by looking at the internship that you did in Ace Infinity Infotech, right? Because you didn't explain anything. And you just simply write the thing that, okay, I did an Android application development and I used the RESTful API in the PHP, but you didn't explain ki, bhai, humne kiya kya tha, what you actually did in an internship, what was the technology that you used in your internship, what was the impact that your internship project created, and what was the customer centric thing in your internship, if there was any. So there has to be some proper structure. And in the third one, the Ace Infinity Infotech, you don't have any numbers that you can govern in your internship. Okay, because numbers are very useful. So whenever, just make it very sure that whenever you're writing your internship or project, if there is any number or accuracy, or like we have just wrote that 5 to 5 transactions per every second. So this is very important thing to write in the internship in the project section. So try to include the numbers, the accuracy, the technology, the software that you used. Okay, so these are the important things that you need to emphasize on. And I also prepared some general pointers here along with this. So you can just see that general pointer for the technical internship. So I will just, if you want to structure a technical internship, right, that how should my internship, any internship look like? You can just take the screenshot of this whole if you want to. How should your internship should look like? So there should be three major pointers that you should structure in your internship points. If you need to write 3 or 4 points for a particular internship, first should be the technology that you use in your internship. That is very important factor. Second one is the advancement that you've done via project. Like what was the impact that your project created? Who was the customer of your project? Who is going to use this project? And how this project helped the people? Because every project is being given to you and assigned to you, which has some impact and which has some useful cases in company or for the consumer of the customer of the company, right? So just try to write that this is the impact that my project created, and it was a project done by myself, and I did contribute this thing in the project, and so on. Third is what is the number of customers? Like who is the customer? Who is going to use the thing that you have prepared, that your project made, and how will it impact the customers? Okay, so there in the bracket I also wrote some terminologies. Now these are terminologies that we use in the Amazon itself to evaluate any project or anything. So it is basically shows your skills that are basically related to that particular use case. Okay, so this is one of the most important thing that you need to understand while writing your internship. Okay, I think it is clear, and we'll just take the doubt at the end if you have any. So major point is that just structure your internship via these three things: technology used, impact of your project, and number of customers who are going to benefit from your project. And do include the numbers and numbers also in your project. Likewise, we included this accuracy of 99.3%. If you have any numbers, if you have reduced the use time of the project, if you have increased the accuracy of your model, accuracy of your search model, so just write that. Okay. So here itself, we write that, okay, it was a finance technology team. So you have just mentioned the team name, that this was the team, and money laundering patterns in the AML sim data set was the basically the project title that we need to do, and did it using the graph database management modules. And what was the results that were created in my internship? It was that 5 to 5 transactions every second with the accuracy of 99.3%. So these are the numbers that you need to include whenever you are just writing your internship. And what is the major technology that you use during internship, that also you have to write. Okay, so I think I emphasize on the internship as much as I can, and you got my basic point that how do you have to structure your internships. Okay, second thing is the project. So while writing the project, the structuring of the project is the second thing. The main important thing where most of the people stuck is कि what is the proper ratio of the project that we need to take. कि हम बहुत सारे DSA projects रख दे या फिर बहुत सारे machine learning projects रख दे या फिर क्या हम उनका basically mixture रखें. Okay, so this is the major doubt that many of us have. So I would say if you are targeting for a proper SD role, then there should be at least one project which should be based on the DSA, like implementation of the data structures that you use. Basically, that shows that you have interest in the data structure, you learn the data structure, and you implement the learnings that you have learned in the data structures. Okay, so you should have at least one project. It can be the course project, it cannot, it can be an individual project, or it can be another separate project that you're taken under some professor or so. So just try to put at least one project from data structure implementations. That okay, this project is core software project, and this I used some data structures and implemented that data structures. Because eventually, when you are applying for a software developer role, no, so they are going to focus more on the data structures that you have implemented and learned in the interview itself. So if they can see some project over data structure, so they will be more impressed that okay, the person has some data structure projects. Okay, so let's now ask something to that person from that project, and it will be a plus point for you instead of just putting simple machine learning project. But I will just recommend that at least have one or two machine learning projects also, to show that okay, the person also have the interest in general software technologies also, that is machine learning, because an emergent field. So if you have that, it will be a plus point. Okay, so regarding the balance, have a proper balance. Like if you're putting 4 projects, then let it be like 2 or 3 1. It just depend on yourself, that in which particular subject you have more command, either it machine learning or the be it the DSA. Okay, so just have a proper balance, but have both of them in your CV. Okay, at least have one project of DSA and one project of machine learning if you have any. And if you have any other project that you think that it's a good project and you need to present that project also in a technical project, then just have that project. Okay. And third thing is that some people have the front end of web development projects instead of the machine learning project. So you can have that also in replacement of the machine learning project. If in case you don't have machine learning project, you can just have the web development project in your CV instead of the machine learning project. But try to have one DSA based project itself. Okay. So this is the main point for the balancing of the projects, and how do you need to balance the projects. Thirdly, how to structure the projects also. So these are some general key points. So the points are same, just I removed the customer obsession wala part in the technical projects, because in technical projects it may be possible that whatever project you made might not be some customer centric project, and it might be some research project itself. Okay, so if you have some research project or research internship, then remove the customer obsession wala point from here and focus on the first 2 points only. That structure should be containing these 2 points: the technology that you used in your internship or project, a research internship or research project, and secondly, what is the impact of your project or research internship, right? So these are the two major pointers that I think you need to consider while designing your technical projects or research internship. Okay. So yeah, these are the major emphasis on over the internship and the project. I think that that one must know about how to structure the internship and projects and what is the correct balance. Thirdly, there are some mistakes being presented here itself. That what is a problem in this red one that you wrote the mobile phone tracking system. So this is okay, but the person have sorry, I think yeah. So this project is okay, but you haven't explained the necessity and you haven't explained the exact algorithm used or the exact technology used. You just mentioned the things. Okay, this is the thing I did in the project. So they will just simply rush away with your CV. They will just say that you don't have presented your intern or your project in a proper manner. So the interviewer is not able to grasp the thing that you have done in your project. Just try to write 3-4 lines that should end to end cover your project, and it should be very easy to understand from the interviewer or selector point of view also, that they would be easy to basically grasp that whatever you've written and whatever you did in the internship, they should be able to understand that from just those 4 lines that you write in your project or internship section. Okay, so this is one of the most important thing. So just don't simply mention the things. Okay, this is a project term project paper, and we use this. It is not the right way to just write the projects. Okay, just try to be a bit explanative as well as a bit conservative while explaining your projects. Okay, don't explain too much, don't explain too less. Okay, so this is about the projects in the internship. Thirdly, talking about the ECs and POR, the EC and POR does matter in your technical internships. So more or less in the selection process, EC and POR does not matter at all, to be honest. A small weightage is being given to the ECs and POR while in the analytics section itself, but almost negligible weightage in the software development. The majority of the things in the software development goes with the coding test, and secondly, your interview will be driven from your projects and the previous internships itself. Okay, so this is how the software or technical roles have been selected. So the EC and POR weightage is almost negligible for the SDE roles. Okay, so just I have to just mention that because many of the people just worry about the ECs and PORs and all those things. Okay, so scholastic achievement, it's like a neutral point, that it's good if you have the scholastic achievement. It's not that bad if you don't have any scholastic achievement. So it's like a neutral point. It does not matter that much at all. But your internship and projects, they matter. Okay. So yeah, I think I just covered all the points that I need to cover. And yeah, regarding the CGPA itself, the CGPA does matter depending on the company in which you are applying. Some companies does not bother about the CGPA at all. Some companies does bother about the CGPA. Okay. Okay. So yeah, that's all that I need to explain to all of you. And if you have any doubts, so you can just raise your hand, and Rep can coordinate accordingly for the doubts here.
Yeah, you can just raise your hand and I'll allow you to unmute and ask your doubt. Sujas, you can go ahead. Hello, Sujas, can you hear me? Cool, we'll move ahead to the next person. Oren, you can go ahead.
Yeah, hello, am I audible? Sorry.
Yeah, you're audible. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, Oren, you're audible. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. So my question was that, like, in the first page, should I fill up with academic details, scholastic achievement, internship, and project, and no ECA or POR? Like in the first page for technical internship, ECA or POR mentioning is necessary, or should I just try to fill as many research internship lines and project details in the first page, and do not care about whether I have to write ECA POR in the first page, or like mention at least 1-2 lines?
See, don't just write all your projects. Can you switch off your mic, or there's so much disturbance? Yeah. So don't just write so many projects itself. Just try to be selective. Okay, try to select 3 or like 4 or 5 at max. 5 should be the maximum number, I think. Try to be selective in your project itself. Just try to represent 3 or 4 or 5 projects, best projects from your whole things, and try to present them like each project for 3 to 4 lines. Okay, so this should be the optimum amount of projects and optimum description of a project. So if you just write so many projects, it will be difficult for you only to present. So that interview can ask any of the project, and interviewer itself be very puzzled at what to ask, what to not. So 3 or 4 projects or maximum 5 can be a good number to present a project, and 3 to 4 line of explanation for each project can be a decent one. Now regarding the EC and POR, I would say, see, not writing any EC POR can be a very unconventional path because everyone just writes something about the EC and POR, whether it be a small section or very large section. Try to be very precise. 3-4 line for the EC and 3-4 line for the POR. No need to describe your POR in very detail. Just write 1 line about a POR if you have any, and just write 1 line for the EC if you have any. That's it. So 3 or 4 best ECA and 3 or 4 lines for the POR. That's it. Not more than that. So if there are some ECs and POR, so your PG, your profile, your CV looks very complete type, but they are not very much of, they're not of very importance. But yeah, you can just write 8 lines of your ECS at max, EC and POR combined. I think that answers the question.
All right, Arnav, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, hello. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
What was the reason you had highlighted JSTSC and JE rank as in red color? What was the reason for that?
Just a second. Yeah, so basically don't bluntly write in half of a line that, okay, my J rank was this, because this is a redundant information. This will be presented on your second page itself. Okay, so if you need to write your J rank, so just be a bit like descriptive that I got the J rank or all India rank of 389 after 1.4 million student appear. So this would be a better way to write the rank. Okay, just simply mentioning it like this with semicolon is not a appropriate way. Okay, this could be written, this would be presented in a second page itself if you just fetch your J rank from there. So just write in a bit descriptive way. That out of 1.4 million students appeared, got a all India rank of 389 in JE Advanced 2020. So this is the proper way to write the things. Cool.
Okay.
All right, Hariom, you can unmute and ask your question.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
I wanted to ask that what exactly they are ask us related to our projects. Like, will we be asked to run our projects there in front of them, like through the GitHub?
Your voice is very blurry. Like I can hear you, but it's not clear to me.
I wanted to ask what questions they asked from regarding the projects that you mentioned in the CV.
Okay, so you're saying the type of question they ask for this from the projects and internship of CV, right? This is the question. Hariom.
Hariom, you can probably type a question in the chat and Pranav sir will answer it because your voice isn't very audible. Cool. So we'll move on to Yashik. You can ask your question, please.
Yeah, is my voice audible?
Yeah, your voice is audible, Yashik.
I want to ask that is it beneficial in mentioning in our CV that our coding competitions rank?
Yeah, it's a plus point. If you have any coding competition rank, then just write that in your scholastic achievement itself that you did this, you gave this competition and you achieved this rank in this competition. So yeah, it's a plus point itself. Like if you have any code forces code chef rating, or you have a better rank in a lead code contest or a code forces contest or in any contest, to be honest, just mention that rank that you achieved in all India rank or a total rank of this out of these many candidates appear in that particular contest. It's a plus point.
All right, Mukul, you can go ahead.
Yeah, hello sir, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah, so basically I wanted to ask my CGPA is around 6.9 something. So should I be positive about going forward or should I be on off campus more?
No, see, Mughal, it's like there are many companies, like for sure Uber is one of the companies. It is a top paying company and that does not see your CGPA at all. If your coding test, if you did and solved their coding test, then you're definitely going to give the interview for sure. Okay. So there are some companies who are not going to see your CGPA, and there will be some who are going to see your CGPA also, but mostly there are ample amount of companies. So yeah, you can just search in the normal on-campus mode itself also.
Okay, sir. So basically, once I go through the coding round, and if I'm positive key I can do capably well, so I get into the interview, then what would be the forward key? How should I present my projects and all so that it maximizes my chances of getting into it?
Okay. So see, for the projects, what you have to do now, just write those projects that for which you are very confident. Okay, that you know about those projects and you actually made those projects. Okay, don't fake the project. And if you know that project, so don't just try to think that, okay, this I did in the project. Try to also think about that, what can be the extensions to these projects that might be asked in the interview. So I remember in my Amazon interview for the internship, they asked for the extension of a project, that I did my project using a hash map. So they asked me that how will you do some extension problem, and it was using some double or triple hash map linkage in there in total. So you need to think about the extensions of the project also, that what else can be done in this project and what else can be asked in this project.
Okay,
so be
sir.
very clear about your projects, and secondly, what extensions the project that would be asked, also be clear about that. Yeah.
Also, sir, basically, if I upload a project related to I have done in a team, if we basically on an unstop competition, we had to do a project and all, and we created a good ML project, and it got selected. So basically, the work and every the parts of things and the tech was divided into the team. Ki you do this, you do this. So I should be open about that to the company, right? Ki I can write it in the CV, and once the company asks something related to other team member, I simply say ki I didn't do that. This was my member's part. Can I
See,
see
whenever
that?
you do whenever you do a team project, so it's not necessary to be very clear about in-depth thing that your partner did, but you should have an overview that what your peer teammates did. Okay, so if you are not very confident about what they did, just clearly mention, sir, I did this, was the part being assigned to me, and for this part, this was a part that my partner did, but I have some overview thinking about this, and you can just go in that manner. Just you can just state that my partner did this, but I know about this also in overview, not the low level designing I know, high level designing I know, and I can just tell you about that, if that's okay. So
Okay,
be
okay,
very
sir.
clear that what you did and what you didn't.
Sir, also, sir, ki do I
I
need to
think
have
because
prior
we'll move on to
internships
the
and all?
next question for now,
Sir,
because
just
there are
one last
people
question.
waiting. I'll get back to you in the last if we have time. Cool.
Mokul, you
Okay.
can just write in the chat box itself if you have any question. At
Okay.
the end, we'll just see the chat box.
So Anurag, you can go ahead and ask your doubt.
Hello.
Yeah, you are audible. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So I was asking about the project section. Like mainly, I was applying for analytics. So the projects I've done correspond to ML and Python related. So is it necessary to put some DSA project also, one or two, if I'm putting the same CV for a tech role as well?
If you are inclining towards the analytics role, so DSA is not that mandatory. Okay, but yeah, more focus should be on the Python and machine learning things for the analytics role. So yeah, you can just take out the DSA role if you are very clear that you are going to apply for the analytics role itself.
No, I'm saying that if I want to put this same sort of CV for my technical role for SDE as well, so is it necessary to put DSA projects majorly, or the ML projects will also work?
See, if you don't put, it's good, but if you put, it's a plus point. It's not like if you are not putting, so they will reject your CV simply. But if you put, it's a beneficial plus point that you have. Okay, so yeah, it's completely upon individual that if they put or not. If your machine learning or Python project does contain some computer architecture kind of a stuff that you can present that I made this and it's a big architecture, like nice architecture that I can prove or I can show. So that's also a good thing. So it's not a problem, I think.
All right. Okay. So thanks.
All right, Tushar, you can go ahead. Tushar, you're not audible. You can probably type your question in the chat, so we'll answer it. We'll move on to Manas. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
So, yeah, sir, as you mentioned, we should mention the data structures used in our CV. I have done that. I was worried about should I also mention I have calculated time complexity, space complexity, those things. Should I go?
Yeah, so I think you're muted, but I got your question. So Manas, I think that regarding the time complexity and all those things, if your project or if your code does optimize the time complexity in general, that you think that this thing was initially being done using O of n time complexity or n square complexity, and you wrote a code which optimizes the time complexity to O of n or O of log n. So in that case, you should mention the time complexity, but there is no, not necessarily you should mention it if your code is doing okay on the time complexity itself. So if you're performing extraordinary over that thing, you should mention it, because that is the main, again, that's what I'm saying, right? That whatever your project or code have achieved in itself, there should be some USP or unique selling point for your project that you should have mentioned, right? So if it is your time complexity, then mention it. If it is your accuracy, then mention it. So just write the unique selling point of your project. Don't write the things that are being already being implemented easily. So don't write those things. Write the unique selling point that your project has. So if you optimize the time complexity or space complexity, you should definitely write. If you haven't, if you think that it could be done better and I didn't did it in a better manner. So you should not write the time complexity, just space complexity. In that case. Is it clear, Manas? Yeah, I think he's muted. Okay, so we can move on to the next question. Mayank, you can just.
Right, Aman, you can go ahead. Aman, you can go ahead and ask your doubt. Agnik, you can go ahead and ask your doubt.
Guys, can we please be a little quicker? We need to wrap up the session in some time. So, Agnik, can you please go ahead and ask your question if you can, if you want to?
Agnik, you're not audible, so I'll move on to the
Maybe
next.
write whosoever is not able to speak up and just write your text in question in chat. We'll take it up if we have time. So, Muk Bansal, you can go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah.
So I was asking if CA got about other branches in this tech cases.
You are not audible. Actually, can you repeat your question? Your voice muffled.
So I was asking if CS branches preferred over other branches in this tech cases.
See, in general, there are some companies who do this bifurcation, but there are many who don't do this. There is no particular answer for this that you will be preferred, or the CS will be preferred or not, and you won't be preferred. So, see, I'm not from a CS background. I'm from applied mechanics department. So I still got selected in a SD role in SD company. So I think there are some companies which definitely do the bifurcation, but there are others who don't. For sure, most of the fans don't do this bifurcation in total. Like Google also, they won't do this bifurcation that, okay, you are CSC, so we'll just prefer you. This won't happen in the fan companies. If you have good problem solving skills, you have good DSA, your CV looks good, your projects are good, they will just take you. Very standard.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
All right, Aryan, you can go ahead.
Finished my project, but I will be able to finish it by, let's say, day 1. So should I mention it in my CV or not?
You can just write that you are currently doing that project. So you can just say you started in January. So from January to present, you can just write in a CV if you are doing that project.
It's a self project, like.
Sorry.
I'm building a self project, so I will finish it by day 1. I feel.
Yeah, you can just write it like from that particular starting day to today. Or present, you can just write instead of the end date of the project. If you want to mention, you can. No problem for that, I think. Like if you approve from the OCS side and you can just get it approved from the OCS side, so it's no harm in writing that project.
And do we have to as proof show a GitHub profile and all, or what?
You can just write, give your GitHub link for the project if you want to, if you have that project uploaded on the GitHub. The companies are not going to see your GitHub profile or so. They will most of the time the interview will just ask you about the project. If they feel that you are very clear about the project you are doing, so they'll just say, okay, that guy did the project. They're not going to extensively go and see CV of the GitHub link of each and every student. So they might see. I'm not claiming that they won't ever see. They might see, but in general, they don't.
All right, thank you, sir. And Sunny, you can now go ahead. Sunny, you can go ahead and ask. Cool. Aman Gupta, do you have any doubts? If any of you are not able to unmute yourself, you can just type out your doubts in the chat, so we'll answer them if we have time. Cool.
I think the chat is disabled, yeah.
Okay, we'll solve that.
I am audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Sir, it's a general question, like how long we can edit our CV?
How long you edit your saving? Like it's depend on the OCS, right? You get a deadline at 38, as far as I know. So you can edit before 30th.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, deadline is 30th.
All right, Tushar, do you have any doubts? So I think this is it for today then. Thank you very much, Pranav sir, for clearing our doubts, for telling us so much about SDE CVs, for explaining all this to us. I would also like to tell you all that we will be having a similar session tomorrow for all the 3 verticals, and we invite you to please join them. They will be very informative for you from 11 p.m. to 12 p.m. Please do check out our post on the BSW channel. So this is it. If any of you has another doubt, you can raise your hand. Pranav sir will be able to answer it for now. Cool. Anshika, you can go ahead.
Mentioned that we should write ECA and PORs in 3 or 4 points. So we do have those in the second page of our CV, right? So do we need to add them on the first page as well or not? for these roles?
No specific need, as I feel like if you have your projects and internship covering your full first phase, so no need to write your ECA and PO at the first phase. But if they are not, then rather than keeping a CV first phase as blank, just put something on it.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Yeah, Shubham,
We can take more doubts also. Yeah, I think we have time.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, Shubham, we can hear you.
I was asking like how much CP should one include? Like if he has good rating and some good ranks and all, how much should one
There's no
CP?
particular criteria for how much CP is good. The much it's everyone for everyone, it's a different thing. Okay, so it may be possible that someone grasp that concept in 2 problems or 4 problems. Someone might not grasp that concept in 10 or 20 problems itself. So it depends on person to person that if you are able to solve a new question, like you saw a question on stack and you can easily solve that problem in the first go or in the second go with some basic hint.
I am asking how much CP I should include in my CV. Like how much should I put? Ranks, how much? Yes.
I don't think so. You need to write so much CP in your CV. Like CP is just for the first coding test. If you are able to crack the coding test, then it's a project and the internship that you did. There is not much, in my opinion, there is not much weightage being given to the CP. Like you can write some scholastic achievement if you have some good rank in any of the contest you achieve, but there is no specific need or extra need to write the CP things or so. Like what are you going to write in the CP thing? Like, what are you thinking to write? CP things.
Like my rating and
yeah, you can write in the scholastic
good
achievement. If you
rank.
think your rating is that good, you can write it in your scholastic achievement itself. That my rating, code forces
And
rating is this.
some ranks I got in contest. And
Yeah,
how
you
about
can
ranks in
write.
contest?
Yeah, you can
Okay,
definitely write
thank
if you think it's very good. See, the scholastic section and whatever you have to write does depend on you. That whether you want your CV is just impression of your professional skills. So if you think that it's a good thing to write in a professional skill, it will be having a good impression on the interview, then do write that thing. There's no restriction that whether should I write this or not, because everyone have some different unique things that they have in them.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
All right.
there is. Yeah,
Am I
there is.
audible?
I think there is a question saying, should I mention Sura in the project section or an internship section?
Sura, I think you should write in project section. Whereas some people write the Sura in the internship sections also. So there is no fixed criteria where should you write the Sura. So yeah, you can write in any of them you feel comfortable with. Like some people don't have any internships, so they write the Sura in the internships. Some have the internship, so they write the Sura in the top of their projects. So it depends. There is no fixed criteria for that.
So, Pranav, sir, would you like to take some more questions or should we end it?
Yeah, we can take some more questions. Like we have 10 minutes or so.
Okay.
For
Yeah,
those
we
of us
have.
who are able to ask questions, who are not able to unmute, you can just type out your questions in the Q&A section and sir will answer them. So, Parth, you can go ahead and ask. Parth, you can go ahead and ask your question. All right, I'll just read out the questions from the Q&A part then. What should be the difference between the technical and the finance CV?
Technical and the finance CV. So for finance, I think the PC and POR roles POR also does matters at some weight with some weightage. And for the finance role, if you have some analytics type of some projects with some impact and numbers which impact the people to be clear, then it's a good. There is no such particular need for writing the clear DSA project for the finance section. That I feel that these are some differences from finance section. Baki to, if you have both the persons in the one frame, then they could answer very easily at what should be the exact differences, because I prepared more for the SDE, not for the finance.
All right, thank you, sir. Winning in a hackathon for a project would come under scholastic achievements or projects?
Depends. If your hackathon is like 2 or 3 weeks longer, and if you think that it has a potential to write in a project section, you did enough amount of work in that hackathon project. So just write in the project section. If you think that it was a day or so long project hackathon, it does not contain any that good amount of things to write. So just write it in the scholastic achievement or ECA, whatever you want to write.
All right, thank you, sir. In the technical skills section, if I just know the basics of language, let's say Java, should I put it in that section?
See, in the technical skills, just write all the languages that you in some previous time that you did that language. start with the ones that you know the most, okay, and just end with the ones that you know the least. That should be a better criteria. But it should not be like you don't know anything about that language and you're writing. Just if you have any idea, you can write. You can just tell the interviewer that I'm more comfortable in this language instead of this, but I worked on this language itself, or this language also in that project. But my base language is this. So I wrote the C++ also in my technical skills, but my major language in which I solved the questions and I did the DSA and practice the most was a Java. But I know the C++ also, so I wrote the C++ too.
So I think this is enough for today. I believe there are no more questions and the time is also over. So thank you so much, all of you, for joining us today. Again, please join us again for tomorrow for another session if you still have some remaining doubts. And thanks a lot, Pranav sir, for clearing all our doubts and for devoting this time to us. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
guys.
BSW, for having this session for all the freshers, and it was a pleasure to be here. And you're doing amazing work.
So the pleasure is all ours. Thank you so much, guys. You can leave the meeting.